Hemo Bio Tech was to be introduced by Jim Stock, but he was not able to be here due to a family emergency. So I am going to introduce Mr. Arthur Bolin. Mr. Bolin.
Thank you very much. Great pleasure to be here. I'd like to give an overview of Hemo Bio Tech and our technology. Safe harbor statement, since we're publicly traded. The mission of Hemo Bio Tech is to commercialize hemotech, potentially the first viable blood substitute. I think all of you know this has been a quest for a number of years. We believe that we have solved the problem on toxicity, and this would be one of the biggest breakthroughs in medicine. The other technology is auth, which is a purification technology to clear and inactivate infectious agents such as prions and viruses. As you know, this is a biotechnology company. Biotech has really outperformed most of the other industries during these difficult financial times. And we have raised about $11 million so far for Hemo Bio Tech for these, to accomplish these goals. And Renaissance Capital is our primary institutional investor, and they own around 21%. But the bottom line for a company like this is the science. Why would one want to have a substitute for red blood cells? You wouldn't have to do blood typing, eliminate the possibility of contamination, perhaps be able to store it for 6 months to a year versus 42 days for red blood cells. This has been a quest for about 35 years, unsuccessful by biotech companies and pharmaceutical companies, and we believe we have the solution. Baxter has spent probably about $800 million to succeed at this, and they failed. Northfield, located here in Chicago, has failed to receive FDA approval due to toxicity, vasoconstriction, inflammation. BioPure, Hemosol, Somatogen. This is a company that got purchased by Baxter for $250 million, but has failed. Northfield, the market cap got up to about $1 billion before they failed, and BioPure about $700 million. The potential value in this area is obvious. The clear means of delivering oxygen in trauma or surgery conditions is hemoglobin. As most of you know, that's the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. The problem is hemoglobin has toxicity problems. It's vasoconstrictive and inflammatory. If we look just down here. And the question is, how does one overcome this toxicity? All of the hemoglobin-based blood substitutes work to carry oxygen, but they've had toxicity problems. So we use the same hemoglobin, but we modify it with a chemical called adenosine. Adenosine has the complete opposite effects of the hemoglobin. It's vasodilatory and it's anti-inflammatory. Here's a picture of our Hemotech. Each one of these is a hemoglobin, one here, 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 and here, and they're combined up to about 5 hemoglobins with adenosine. Adenosine is recognized as a pharmacological active agent, natural agent, and due to the adenosine, it has overcome all the toxicities that everyone else has had. Properties. We know based on an initial clinical study that it carries oxygen, is non-toxic, anti-inflammatory, and it's erythropoietic. It induces red blood cell production. It's compatible with all blood types, can be stored for a year to 42 days. Extensive studies have been done on toxicity, including up to large animals, and a clinical study was done on sickle cell anemia patients where they received 25% of their blood being replaced with Hemo Tech. The results were that there was no toxicity. It worked as an oxygen carrier, it was vasodilatory, anti-inflammatory, and a major increase in red blood cell production. It induces Amgen's epogen endogenously. We know the molecular mechanism because the molecular mechanism of adenosine is very well delineated. We had a meeting with the FDA, presented the clinical study we had, plus all the other studies. They gave us recommendations. We're implementing them at the present time. And very importantly, the FDA had a meeting on April 28, 29 of this year, indicating, and they said, all of these first-generation products should be discontinued. They're toxic. Also, the Journal American Medical Association had an article saying the same thing. FDA said we need a new generation, and they cited the adenosine approach of Hemo Tech. We have a global strategy. 1/3 of the population in India represents the middle class who could afford to pay for Hemo Tech. And 1 out of 9,000 units of donated blood is infected with HIV. This population will not use donated blood, and there's a desperate need for something like Hemo Tech. In India alone, the potential market is $1.5 billion. And we're pursuing that at the present time. We have very strong regulatory services with Regulus. The market is very large. Acute anemia, about 9.7 million units of blood are used per year. Cancer, 1.4. Ischemia, heart disease. The cost of blood is $500 to $1,000 per unit. The market in the U.S. alone is $7 to $14 billion. I can show a more detailed breakdown at the breakout session. We all know their demand and the cost of blood is increasing, donations are going down. Production facility at Texas Tech was written up in Nature as one of the few such facilities in the world. We use bovine red blood cells, unlimited supply, and we have a purification method to eliminate any infectious agents, which I will talk about. We isolate the hemoglobin, and then we modify it. Fred Frank, business advisor, recommendation, Vice Chairman of Lehman Brothers, after phase 2 to partner 50-50. The other technology is orthogonal method for clearance and activation viruses and prions. Prions can cause mad cow disease. We have an optimized system. This addresses about a $7 billion market, collagen, albumin, etc. And we are presently in negotiations for sub-licenses with pharmaceutical companies, fees, royalties, and we're targeting a deal this year and a couple next year. The company was formed in 2001 based on the technology from Texas Tech University. The inventors are Dr. Fiola and Simone, world leaders in the area, and patents have issued in 21 countries. We also have a new patent for the induction of the red blood cell production, which is pending. And we're extending the IP. The agreement with Texas Tech is very unique. No royalty, only equity. They own around 7%. My background, this is my 4th company. My first company I formed with Phillips Petroleum, the Wadley Cancer Center. Then another company, I did a deal with Bristol Myers on Taxol, PhD in molecular genetics, postdoctoral fellow at Yale. And on our board of directors, is Dr. Bernie Mittenmeyer, former U.S. Army Surgeon General. And we feel that this is a major value proposition. We've raised, as I said, about $11 million.
Thank you.
And we're presently doing an offering on this, and I think with the FDA's endorsement, we'd love to talk with you later. Thanks.
Thank you very much.